So for today's video, you can kind of see a hint right there, but we're going to be making a Back to the Future inspired Raspberry Pi case. So for both the Raspberry Pi 4, which is this, and the Pi 5, which is this. So I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that the ports coming out of the back looked like the DeLorean time machine, so I figured it'd be a fun little case design build. So I have all the pieces laid out here, and I suppose I'll just give a quick run through of the non-printed pieces. So here I have 4 little paper clips that I've cut up, and these are actually going to be to mount the doors and allow them to actually move without needing any really precise printed tiny stuff. And the only other screws I have are these little M2 screws, or hex keys screws, you know what I mean, which will allow the Pi to actually physically mount into the chassis. So other than that, it's just 3D printed and mostly glue, as this is kind of more like a model kit I approached it. So I'm just going to go ahead and time lapse and build it. So the first thing that I am actually going to do for this is to not mount, but to secure the windshield, which kind of goes in like that. And then this back piece, which is how the doors will be mounted, and that is going to sit back here. But in order to do this and get it properly mounted, the first thing I actually want to do is make sure that the windshield and this are combined. So all you need to do for that is just kind of put a dab of glue right here, so underneath this. So all I need to do is have the paper clips cut up, which I do have here. And essentially all that's going to happen is we'll go with this door first, which would be the passenger door. So I take a little bit of pliers, not a little bit of pliers, you know what I mean, a small plier size. And I just kind of feed these down into the door until it bottoms out. And the depth that this can go in the door is about 10 millimeters. So you don't want to push it too hard because this is really kind of more of like a model kit. So it's a bit delicate. And then do the other one. Realistically, 2 is kind of overkill. Would be fine having 1, but I figure might as well have the redundancy. So we have that, and those are different lengths because these pieces were cut differently. So following this, you just want to make sure that it's not too long to where it's going to be going in. So you can see that these are definitely far too long. So I'm going to kind of want them cut to like half this length. So I'm just going to take this and mark them. So maybe like right here and right here. So now that that's done, I'm gonna just snip. And be careful when you do this, because 1, you don't want to bend them, and 2, they go flying. So just keep that in mind. So now that that's kind of done, the next thing I'm going to do is, and then I'm just going to slide them into the recess holes here, which can be kind of a bit difficult. Oh, so this was the driver's door, cool. And then you see that the windshield is kind of popped up, but that'll be fixed when this goes in the car. So the next thing we're going to do is just do that all over again, which I'll fast forward. Alright, so that step is really a bit tedious, and you have to kind of be careful you don't end up gluing the door to the car. But so once they're in, you can kind of hold it by the center here and just bend up on the door and you'll see in a second. So that does give the appearance of the gull-wing door. And personally, I think I'm going to have the passenger door shut, but the driver's door open. So kind of have it like that. And now that this piece is in a more completed state, the next thing I'm actually going to do is go ahead and mount the Pi. So I have made two versions for this. As you saw in the intro, there were two. So this one is for the Pi 5, and the Pi 5 doesn't have a audio jack right here, but the Pi 4 does. So the one for the Pi 4 just kind of has a hole in the window here for that audio jack. So mounting the Pi is easy. You just slide it in and you align it so that it is sitting on the front posts and the back posts, and then you go ahead and screw it in using, in my case, these M2 screws, as I like using these for Pi stuff. And now we can see that the Pi is screwed in 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I didn't do these too tight because it is curved, so I mean it won't sit properly, the screw on this, unless I angled the post, which I didn't want to do because it just would make it a little more difficult to print. And this really is more of an aesthetic, like desk ornament case than actually something functional, of course, but you can definitely see that it's starting to come together and have that kind of look to it. So we'll keep going. So the next thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and actually put on the kind of roof assembly thing that we worked with earlier here. And in order to do this, I'm going to put a dab of glue in 4 locations. So I'm just going to put some right here, if I can get it out. There we go. So right there, and I'm probably using too much, but it's all right. And then very light dabs here. Now be careful not to get it on your Pi, and if you are worried about that, you can always just put the glue on the edges of kind of the back support here that is going to be placed. So instead of putting the glue there, you could of course put it here and here, but I don't mind. So put the windshield in, and then get this in place, which is being a little unhappy. So kind of just pull on that, there we go. And like this. And if the doors aren't properly aligned right now, don't worry, because of course they are adjustable. But I mean, definitely getting our first look at it, which is awesome. So it has the door open, obviously, because, well, our USB-C power is right here, and then our HDMI out. So yes, this one is blocked, and on the Pi 4 there is access to the audio jack here, but again, this is kind of more like a desk ornament than a really functional case. So I mean, take it as it is, I suppose. And you can see that side doesn't look too bad either. And it does look Delorean-esque. So while that's drying, I suppose we can go ahead and put the wheels together. Now, the wheels are front and back. So the DeLorean in real life has dished wheels in the back, so here and here, and the front wheels are flat, the rims, I mean, and the back tires, I believe, are a bit bigger than the front. So basically I made this as simple as I could, and essentially we've got 4 axles, so 2 long ones and 2 short ones, and the long ones will just go in the back wheels. So just like that, and you stick it all the way through. And again for the back wheel. And then the dishes. So the dish rims are for the back. Just kind of pop over this, and they're designed to sit flush, just like that, with the axle in place. So you just go ahead and repeat that for the other side. So same thing for the fronts, small axle on small rim and small tire. And it seems easier to just kind of put them face down and press. All right, so that gives us our front and back wheels and tires. So the next thing I'm going to do, and I'm happy because it's pretty much getting to the end, is put the grille. So I designed it. It says RPI. I don't know if you can see that because the original says DMC there. So I figured, hey, RPI, Raspberry Pi. So this, again, really doesn't need glue, and it just kind of slides in place in the front of the car. So it looks like that. And the back is really the same, but it's a bit of a tighter fit back here. So just kind of like that. And maybe not that far back. Yeah, that's all right. It's a toy. So got the back, got the front, and the final thing is going to require some glue because it is going to be to place the hood in. And I wasn't sure if I liked this design or not, but it's kind of the easiest thing I could come up with. So this just sits here and gives us the holes for the wheels as well. So this I will glue in place. And really that should be sufficient. So just kind of pops in just like that. And I'll go ahead and let that dry for a little. And then once that's done, the final step is to put the wheels in and we're ready to go back. The only other thing I forgot to mention is I tried making a little license plate that said add a RAM, but you can see that it questionably printed, but that would just kind of pop in right there. So I figure I'll put it on, why not? So just kind of, this probably doesn't even need, like, that's like overkill, but all right, no worries. And so hard to read, I gotta make sure I don't put it upside down. All right. And I suppose I can start by putting the back rims in, or wheels, tires, rims. So these don't really need any glue or anything. You can just kind of slide them in and push them in. And I suppose it would roll if you really needed it to, but not designed to, of course. So I'll get this side. Oh, okay, so that one rolls nice. And this door's like, you know, it's a little weird, but it's half intended for this side to be facing away from you, so. Huh. All right, and then these will kind of grab the other side of it so that I don't put too much pressure on the post coming down the hood. Just like that. And then do it here. And, well, this back wheel likes to come out, but that can always be glued in place. But there we are. We are in possession of a Raspberry Pi time machine case with a loose back wheel. I'm gonna glue that thing in. So I did end up sharpieing in the windshield, and I just think it looks better that way. A little more, perhaps, quote unquote, realistic. So here are the two completed ones. We've got the Pi 4 with the speaker hole on the left and the Pi 5 on the right. So overall, I'm happy with the way these came out. I think they're neat and do kind of look time machine-esque with the ports sticking out of the back and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I'll take it.